What's up, meatbags? It's the often imitated, never duplicated Tony TGD coming at you with another video. This time we're going to be talking about my 5 favorite wrestlers of all time. Now, these are not the 5 best wrestlers. These are not the 5 most popular, the 5 greatest, the 5 with the most accolades. No, no. These are just 5 wrestlers that I really love. These are the guys I love watching on TV growing up. These are my favorite of all time. I'll tell you why. I'll go through each one of them and we'll see what's up. So, number 5, my man Rey Mysterio Jr. Love him, love him, love him. He was one of the reasons I would tune into Monday Nitro every night. His matches with Dean Malenko, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Jericho, Chris Benoit, all the other luchadors. Always a great match. Always a fun time. He did, wild flips, lots of lucha libre action. Loved him. He went to WWE, won some titles, became champion, did some great work there. He would be higher on the list if it wasn't for the fact that he took his mask off and then put it back on. Now I know that Vince McMahon went down and talked to the head of the Lucha Federation, or whatever the fuck they call it, the Lucha Council. There was probably some money exchanged and they gave Rey Mysterio permission to go ahead and put his mask back on, but it never sat right with me. I always felt like it was a cop out. We knew that he took his mask off. He unmasked. He should have stayed unmasked, or he should have got a new mask. He should have respected the culture, respected the traditions. He didn't. So that's why he's number 5 on the list and not higher. Number 4, my man Chris Kanyon, innovator of offense. This guy is so underrated. I loved his work in the Jersey Triad. I loved it when he was fighting with Raven, then teaming up with Raven. The work he did in WCW was incredible. He was always given a good match. He was always giving it his all. When he became Chris Champagne Kane, when he was doing this whole Hollywood actor gimmick, he's got fucking charisma. He had charm. He had it all. I don't understand why this man didn't go further in the business. There might have been some backstage shenanigans. There might have been some reasons he was held back, but he was a fantastic performer. Go watch his old WCW stuff, probably around 97, 98, after he dropped the whole Mortis gimmick and became Chris Kanyon again. Great stuff. You can go and kind of follow his career, see him as he starts off as one half of Men at Work. Wasn't doing too good. He was just a typical wrestler. Didn't really have any style. He became Mortis. He got some style. He got some moves. Dropped that gimmick. Became Chris Kanyon again. Oh my God, the stuff he came up with, it was incredible. Loved watching him. He was always a great part of Monday Nitro. Now the number 3 guy, my man Roddy Piper. What can I say? Growing up in the 80s, he was the number 1 heel, the number 1 bad guy. I really did not like Hulk Hogan. I was not a Hulk Hogan fan in the 80s. So I was a fan of Roddy Piper. He was always getting under Hogan's skin. He was always arrogant. He always had that edge. You never knew what Hot Rod was going to do. Was he going to be a good guy? Was he going to be a bad guy? Was he going to hit somebody with a coconut? The man was crazy. Then he went off to Hollywood, made some movies. Fucking They Live is a classic. Love it. Came back, did some more wrestling. The man fucking boxed with Mr. T. He did it all. He would be higher on the list. He would be my number 2 guy, if not for the fact that he came back to wrestling, started wrestling in WCW, did some matches with Hogan. They were the fucking drizzling shits. They were terrible matches. It was an embarrassment. He should have never did it. Never should have came back as a wrestler. He could still speak. He still had that mic game. But in the ring, couldn't get it done. He had that hip replacement. He just wasn't the same. It kind of dragged his whole legacy down, in my opinion. A lot of wrestlers, they get up in age. They don't ride off into the sunset. They want to try to milk it for as much as they can, relive them glory days, and it never works out. It always ends up making them look silly. Now, number 2, The Rock. Man, the Attitude Era, fucking The Rock was my guy. I basically watched his whole career. He came up Rocky Maivia. I liked him as a good guy. Everyone thought, he was a joke. He was a nobody. But, he had some moves. He had some skill. He wasn't really good on the mic. Joined the Nation of Domination, and boy, did he fucking take off. They gave him that microphone, and he ran with it. Fucking dominated the WWF, then the WWE. The man could do no wrong. He was telling people he was gonna turn shit sideways and shove it up their ass, and somehow it worked. The man made it work. He had charisma like no one else, no one's business. Unfortunately, just like Roddy Piper and so many others, he didn't know when to give it up, when to call it quits. He keeps coming back, doing special little, one-offs, some, small programs for like a month or two. No, man, you went to Hollywood, you became an actor. You didn't need to come back. You should have just left it alone. I would have had more respect for you. You might have been number one if you just left it alone. But you didn't. You had to come back. You had to keep trying to chase the dream. So that's why you're number two. But number one, my all-time favorite, one of the best wrestlers of all time. A guy who I kind of model some of my mannerisms, some of my gimmick around. I'm sure you probably know who it is. You can probably guess. My man Eddie Guerrero, Latino Heat. Now, I picked this particular picture because, in fact, when I was in high school, this was my desktop on my computer. My startup sound was the LWO theme. I was all in on this gimmick. I loved it. Now, I actually, when I first saw Eddie Guerrero wrestling in WCW, he was a nobody. He was just a opening card guy. But I saw him and I said, hey, this guy right here, this guy's going to be the fucking world champ someday. And I remember my father and my brother, they laughed at me. Said, oh, this guy's too small. This guy's a nobody. He ain't going to fucking be nobody. But I said, no, he's going to be world champ one day. And it took years, fucking years. He had to jump over to WWF. But he did it. He finally fucking did it. He became the world champ. And I remember gloating so much in everybody's face. Like, I told you this motherfucker was going to be the world champ. I saw it in him. He has charisma. He has the fucking skill. He was the fucking man. He got taken from us way too soon. There were so many great matches that he never had a chance to wrestle in. But I'd love to see him up against Shawn Michaels. Maybe do a program, with Chris Jericho when they were in WWF. That would have been nice. But he got taken from us way too soon. He is my all-time favorite wrestler. Love Eddie Guerrero. You could pretty much watch almost any match from Eddie Guerrero, and it's going to be a fucking classic. It is going to be a five-star match, in my opinion. Maybe not on a Dave Meltzer scale, but as far as I'm concerned, anytime Eddie's in the ring, it was a good fucking time. And that's really all I got to say. Trying something new here, talking about wrestling. Hopefully, I'm going to start watching some of the new stuff, so we'll get into that. But you know how we do it on this channel. Love, peace, booty grease. We out this bitch.